City is here with a quick video to show you how I play Realmshifter Cataphract versus Morrigan and for rating in general lately. So I've highlighted a few things here, one of which is you want as much ward as possible on as many pieces of gear as possible, because we're basically going to be turning your ward bar into an extension of your health with Divine Bastion. The higher we can get the ward, the more health and ward you're going to have, and the more ward per turn you're going to regenerate. The other thing highlighted are the assassin jewels on my weapon. I'd say you want at least 3 of them to increase your chances of landing the defense debuffs on Morrigan, which also has a side effect of trying to force her to waste a turn using Dispel to get rid of those things, and therefore wasting a turn not dealing damage against you. You want at least 1 piece of armor with dragon resistance on it, otherwise you're just going to take huge chunks of damage from the dragon skills that she spams. That middle piece of armor, Viper armor for dragon resist, whatever you use for dragon resist, it doesn't have to have the greatest stats. Obviously, go with as best as you can get, but the dragon resist is most important. And even something as small as 3% additional ward is useful, because that's going to give you a few hundred extra ward and a little extra ward regeneration per turn. If you don't have a piece of armor with dragon resist, you could also run a griffin shield instead of a fallen or a risen shield with huge ward. Griffin shield can still be pretty good for ward, but mine, for example, is about 40% less than this fallen shield. For accessories, you can pretty much run whatever will cover the gaps in what you feel you're weakest in. I've got just damage buffs right now. I've messed around with condition immunities, but I find, for me anyways, taking a pet like Pale Dragon or Fafnir is a bit better. I actually prefer Fafnir because either one of them will use Dispel, but Fafnir is less likely to use skills that are going to heal you and raise your health up, which we don't actually want to do that, because your ward becomes your health and a cover for your real health bar, which we're going to want to be intentionally lowering with Double Edge to get it down below into the Mystic Feather and Resurgence range. I have a Risen Ring. It's not quite as good as the one on the left, so I'm just running an Adamantine Amulet to get a little bit more damage without having a sacrifice of res. Skills, blue are the buffs. I've numbered them in the order that I typically start them. I have them laid out the way that is easy for me for muscle memory, which I try to do for all setups. So Prism Wall greatly reduces everything she's going to throw at you elemental wise. Start off with that. Ward of Ortonite to start building ward turns and to immediately get that 85% damage reduction. Divine Bastion as soon as you can to take 100% damage into your ward bar instead of your health bar. And then Golem's Fortitude just to boost up whatever res you have at that point, which really the main defense here is Prism Wall and the Dragon Resist, but every little bit of res assist helps. The orange numbers are the offensive buffs. I start with Earth Affinity. If you're already using a weapon that has Earth Imbuement on it, then you can put anything else in that skill slot. Gate of Gunner, and then Mimic's Mischief. So Mimic's Mischief, you might think it's a little dicey because you could get debuffs. More often than not, I feel like I never get the debuffs from it. If I do, no big deal, just use Ambrosia or Panacea. Double Edge, once you're fully buffed up, Double Edge is what we're going to want to do to bring your health down low. And then Deific Channel when you're ready to start dealing damage, and then Swordplay Spam to just start the main damage cycles. Guarding Strikes and Ward of Light are the utility skills, and um, you can use whatever you feel like is going to help you the most there. Um, all right, so we're gonna start doing this and see how it goes. And I'll just give some thoughts as I go. So, Horde of Ortonite, in addition to giving you that stronger 85% ward and 7 turns of ward, it also regens a bit of ward for you each time you use it. And with Realmshifter and the Apothecarist passive, potions are super strong. As you just see, I just topped off with 1 super mana potion. So I use Ward of Ortonite as a combo skill instead of additionally bringing something like Fortify to build ward turns, because we can afford that mana cost. No problem. So I didn't even buff up with Golem's Fortitude, and you could already see that most of the damage is cut pretty low. Tonics for the rest of the buffs you want: speed, res +1, attack +1. Just because we're low on mana, I'll do Ward of Ortonite a couple more times, or 1 more time. I'll start Double Edge to waste the rest of the mana before we use another potion. So again, the lower we get our health comfortably, Mystic Feather will trigger. You'll dodge attacks a lot. Resurgence will trigger, so you're going to deal more damage. So this is also possible to run with a Berserk Mushroom, but to me, I feel like that gets a little skill juggly, trying to balance health and ward and everything. The way I do this lately, you can pretty much get set up and go on autopilot. The only thing you really have to worry about is keeping your mana and your ward topped up. So, in my opinion, this is kind of like, it's a little slower up front than Gilga, which is basically an infinite mana machine, and if you gear right for that, you never have to use a potion, and you can start dealing big damage almost immediately. So there's big perks to running something like Gilga. Realmshifter, this takes a bit more setup up front before you get to the big damage phase. But once you're there, I think it's at least as easy as something like Gilga Cataphract. Alright, so we're hit with Rot and Stun right now. There we go. So my Fafnir got rid of it. Sometimes, though, if you get hit with conditions like that, or the elemental paralyzing conditions, you can, instead of just trying to attack and rolling the dice and see if you attack through that stun, you could use one of the charge up spells like Divine Bastion to recover some ward, or Deific Channel to get your buffs back up, and basically cross your fingers and hope that by the time that spell finishes and you're actually attempting to cast it, that your pet dispels it from you and will let you successfully complete that turn. So this is one of the rare times that she's actually used Toxic on me, so I'll just use Panacea to get rid of that. And we'll have to double edge down again. So that usually never needs to happen more than once in each fight with her is using Double Edge to get the health down. It's actually the first time in dozens of runs that I've seen her land toxic on me. And basically just recoup a few more ward turns with Ward of Ortonite and Divine Bastion to regen some ward. So that was an example there of when you try to cast and whatever stun spell is on you actually does block it and the pet doesn't dispel it. But you can see even with Blight, I was able to cast on the second attempt through that, and then now casting Deific Channel, Fafnir dispelled it before the cast actually finished. So it's usually, the conditions usually aren't a problem. And just kind of the way I do this, if Deific Channel runs out early, I'll just keep spamming Swordplay till my mana's down, and then do Super Mana Potion to get back up. And try again. Alternatively, if ward turns are running low, I'll also maybe use Guarding Strikes to build those back up, or just Ward of Ortonite. And there you go, another example of Fafnir dispelling something that would have potentially blocked a multi-turn cast. And we've hit the damage cap. There you have it.